stuff like this keeps happening, and it seems like the cops don't care because it continues to happen. And they continue to say, oh, our heart breaks that this kind of thing happened. It should never happen. We shouldn't have made this mistake. And then they put their cops who did it on paid administrative leave, acting like that's going to make everything better. And then they increase funding the next year so that they can have better training, and the people aren't trained better, these badged authoritarians. So you've probably heard this. I've got another video on this specific incident that's going to come out in a day or two, but I'm just going to go over this article right here because it's almost like people are okay with standing armies. Let me remind you of something that the Constitution says. First of all, there are over 800,000 sworn officers, law enforcement officers in the United States right now. 137,000 of those are federal agents. But there's something in the Constitution that says no standing army shall in time of peace be maintained without the consent of the General Assembly, and the military in all cases at all times be in strict subordination to the civilian power, nor shall any soldier, and I would call, especially the way they dress, I would call current law enforcement officials or officers soldiers. Nor shall any soldier in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war except in a manner prescribed by law. I would call 800,000 sworn officers in the United States a standing army. Would you? I don't know. Leave your comments in the comment section. But it says on this Communist News Network article, New Mexico police shot and killed a man after they went to the wrong house while responding to a domestic violence call. How many of these do we have to hear? How many of these incidents do we have to hear to realize, wow, when they do a welfare check or there's a domestic violence call, or when the cops go out there to, intending on serving and protecting the public, it usually doesn't end up very well. Authorities are investigating the shooting of a man killed by police in his northwestern New Mexico home after they arrived at the wrong address. Imagine being in your house. This is at 11:30 at night. Imagine being in your house at 11:30. Maybe you're sitting down with your family, chilling out, watching a movie, maybe talking over the things that you're going to be doing the next day. Maybe you're brushing your teeth. Maybe you're going to bed. Maybe you've gone to bed, and you get this knock at the door at 11:30. What's happening in your mind? You're on high alert. Wait a second. What's going on here? And then you grab your pew-pews because, you're a Second Amendment guy, or you're just an average person that cares about your family, and you want to position yourself to be more power than the possible assailant you're going to be facing when you open that door, when you investigate who exactly is outside your house. And then somebody on the outside, a gang of people, start to open fire on your house while your kids are upstairs and your wife is in the living room. Robert Dotson, 52, was killed Wednesday night by officers with the Farmington Police Department after they received a call reporting a domestic violence incident around 11:30 p.m. and went to his house, instead of the one across the street. And it was clear from the number on the side of the house that they were at the wrong house. And they even talked about the fact that they were in the wrong house. You'll see that in the video. Went to the wrong house instead of the one across the street. So what does the police chief say? Steve Heeb says, I'm just heartbroken. Mr. Dotson was not the subject of this call. This ending is just unbelievably tragic. I'm extremely sorry that we're in this position. I'm extremely sorry that we, the Farmington Police Department, are in this position. Well, what about the position that the Dotson family's in? Think of all the funeral arrangements that they have to make. Think of all the crud they got to go through because now the children's father is gone and the wife's husband is gone. Upon arriving to the neighborhood in Farmington, which is about 150 miles northwest of Albuquerque, officers, quote, mistakenly approached 5305 Valley View Avenue instead of 5308 across the street. After no one answered their knocks at the door, police officers asked the dispatch to call the person who reported the incident and asked them to come to the door. Not before they said, hey, can you verify the address? And the other cop says, hey, no, this is 5305. And then they start joking about it. They gave me the wrong information. Yeah, that puts everybody in jeopardy. When you send men with psychopathic ideas, when you send men who are completely unstable in their minds because they're on authoritarian power trips to the wrong address, what do you expect to happen? After no one answered their knocks on the door, police officers asked dispatch to call the person who reported the incident. At some point, Dotson opened the door of his home while armed, and at least one officer, no, it was all of them, they all took a shot. At least one officer shot at least one round from their gun. When did they write this? This is April 7th. The incident happened on April 5th. Okay, so at the time of the writing here, they didn't have the body cam video. It was all of them, and there were multiple rounds, because they feared for their life. And when they fear for their life, that trigger finger starts going crazy, striking and ending 52-year-old Dotson's life at the scene. Armed with a handgun, Dotson's wife exchanged gunfire with the officers. That is not clear from the body camera video. They say that she did. Maybe she did, but she was not injured. And they were like, hey, cuff her. Like they're mad at her. They should have known. Wait a second. Don't cuff her. We're in the wrong place. But one of the cops actually said cuff her, and all the other ones go, yeah, we need to cuff her. Once again, officers fired. Once she realized that the individuals outside the residence weren't just regular street criminals, but they were street criminals in uniform, she put the gun down and complied with the officer's commands, because that's what you do. Because if you don't do it, then the hounds of hell will be unleashed against you. The state-funded, taxpayer-funded, blue line hounds of hell will come after you. The responding officers who were not injured in the shooting will not be publicly identified by state police, according to their statement. We're not going to identify the guys who destroyed this family. Why not? You would be identified. I would be. If I did that or you did that, we would clearly be identified. Our names would be in the paper. Our mug shots would be in the paper. But not these cops. They will not be identified. It's unclear how many officers were at the scene at the time of the shooting or how many fired their guns. If CNN is getting this report from the information provided by the Farmington, New Mexico Police Department, and the Farmington, New Mexico Police Department actually viewed the body cams before making the statement to the Communist News Network, then the cops lied. And they were probably counting on the fact that, hey, we're going to seal this body camera footage for a long time. Nobody's getting it. But they got it in 2 days. They did this video or this article on the 7th. The incident happened on the 5th. So it was somewhere around the 7th or 8th when they got the body cam footage that you'll see in my next video. It's unclear how many officers were at the scene at the time of the shooting or how many fired their guns. It's also unclear whether Dotson fired at the officers at all before police shot and killed him. The Communist News Network has filed a public records request. The video of the shooting is expected to be released within the week, according to the police chief. Quote, this is the police chief. There's nothing I can say that will make this better. It's a terrible event, and I'm heartbroken over it. How about resign? That would make everybody feel better. How about dissolve and disband the Farmington Police Department and tell all the people, hey, you know what? You got to protect yourself. Besides that, according to Supreme Court cases, the police are under no obligation to protect you. But they are under obligation, at least they act like it, to protect themselves from any and all liability. This shooting is currently under investigation by the New Mexico State Police, and of course they're going to investigate themselves and get back with you and let you know what they discovered. It's not like if you got pulled over that's going to work with the officer. Hey, did you know I stopped you for speeding? Well, I'll tell you what, officer, I'll investigate myself and I'll get back with you. We'll do a self-determination on whether what you said about me is true. So the boys in blue will investigate themselves and get back with us. And this is the second case of wrongdoing. The killing of Dotson and other recent cases highlights the dangerous consequences that can result when police activity at the wrong address causes an armed, innocent individual to confront authorities whom they suspect to be criminals, and they would be right, posing a threat. Whether responding to calls for service or executing a planned arrest, law enforcement officers are trained in the importance of verifying both the information leading them to a particular location, as well as in exercising due diligence to confirm that they're in the proper location. This is common sense, which is not so common when you're part of the Thin Blue Line gang. Wednesday's fatal police shooting occurred a day after a similar controversial case of authorities targeting the wrong location. And here's this scenario. FBI and U.S. Army tactical personnel on American soil conducting training exercises in Boston on Tuesday raided the wrong hotel room, detaining an innocent Delta Airlines employee based on what authorities described as inaccurate information. Conducting special operations in urban environments has always been a training challenge, said CNN law enforcement analyst John Miller. The only way to replicate those challenges to operational security is to practice in real urban environments. That's in our neck of the woods. When we're at hotel rooms, when we're in our homes, when we're driving down the road. The only way to really get this thing ironed out is have a bunch of badged law enforcers interact negatively with the general public. What could possibly go wrong, Schmitty? Multiple checks and verifications are typically built into the planning system before a pre-planned entry or raid, Miller said. Then why are all these things going wrong, Miller? Why are the lives of just the general population constantly put on the chopping block? The idea is to minimize the chance that you either had the wrong address or the wrong door at the right address. These checks usually go up the chain of command to someone on the senior level to review them to make sure all the proper steps have been taken. In addition to being embarrassing for departments and potentially deadly for police and innocent bystanders, targeting incorrect addresses has proven exceedingly expensive for taxpayers. In December 2021, Chicago City Council approved a nearly $3 million settlement for a nurse whose home was mistakenly targeted in a botched raid based on bad information from an informant. Police body camera video shows a naked and distraught Anjanette Young handcuffed and questioned by authorities as she tried to explain officers had the wrong address. Why did they leave her naked while she was handcuffed? Why didn't somebody take a sheet off a bed or take his coat off and cover her body? Why? Because they don't care about you. They don't care that they were in the wrong address. They don't care that they have the wrong person. This is all very, very infuriating. But don't worry, the police chief from Farmington, New Mexico is heartbroken. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. That's highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel, grab hard-hitting conversation starting design you can get from the store. You can put on a shirt, hoodie, mug, cell phone case, whatever you want. I will see you in the next video.